With the recent shutdown of Concord and seeing the entire situation unfold, it made me think why Warframe doesn't share the same issues in character design, even though it includes different characters that don't look the most normal, to say the least, right? Well, as some of you may know, Warframe has a pretty diverse cast of characters in terms of design. That is partly due to the fact that it is a sci-fi game, so crazy and wacky designs can be more flexible. But it also comes down to some other factors. Some factors are story or backstory, intended design, and correct design choices. Correct design choices and intended design, these two go hand in hand, to be honest. To help us understand better, we need to take a deeper look into these characters and the factors I mentioned before. So let's start by taking a look at Hildren. Hildren is categorized as a tank warframe, who instead of using energy, she uses her shields, so she provides her allies with shields, as well as herself, while stealing enemy shields to give herself. It's kind of a recycling mechanic, where she uses part of those shields to cast other abilities, and buffing her ally shields, and then doing all that again and again. I know that sentence was confusing, so if I confused you, basically she's a tank that sort of plays like a paladin. Based on her kit, you can tell by her design that she's supposed to be someone beefy, so that beefiness is reflected by her design. She's a very muscular female warframe that looks like any character you'd see in a game and instantly could tell that's a frontline character. You could view her like Zarya, for example, from Overwatch, which is in my opinion pretty similar design-wise with Hildren. I think Hildren's design is explained even better through her backstory. I couldn't find where I read or heard this, but the creator of the Warframes, Ballas, basically said that she was designed to be the final line of defense in case all other Warframes failed. It was a Warframe that Ballas specifically loved and had probably the closest relationship with, even going as far as saying to only spare her if they were to destroy all other Warframes. Now, the important part was that she is the last line of defense, which goes to show even further how she was designed in mind, and why she looks how she looks. Hildren is a great example of how to do a strong-looking female character with big muscles, and that's shown by how much people in the community love to joke about her and call her stuff like mommy or muscle mommy. I've never heard of anyone hating this Warframe's design, and with all the previous stuff mentioned, I think it makes sense. Now let's talk about someone named Grle. I'm pretty sure most of you know this Warframe, since its ability Nourish is subsumed on almost all Warframes at this point. Grle is another great example of great character design, even better than Hildren, because Grendel's design makes total sense. Grle was designed based on the idea of gluttony. Grle is a definition of gluttony, and that can be instantly understood from his design. He has a big belly with teeth on it that make it look like a mouth, and it basically is one. This is intended design. Grendel's kit showcases perfectly his theme and character. His first ability lets Grle open his stomach and suck enemies that he can keep in there until they die, to either heal him or give him energy. Or he could use Nourish, which is his second ability, consuming one of the enemies he sucked in his stomach in order to gain a buff. His third ability is just him turning into a ball and rolling around dealing damage to enemies. And his fourth lets him spit out an enemy, applying a status effect and doing a lot of damage. If you couldn't tell, his kit is based around his eating mechanic with his first ability, so he has to feast constantly if he wants to use his other abilities, showcasing his theme as the glutton Warframe even more. In the cinematic for his prime, Ballas says, "You whisper that my Warframes are too genteel. Very well, away with chivalry. Let us have monsters." And this makes sense, since when we think of a glutton, we think of someone who doesn't care and just acts on the instinct of hunger. Lastly, correct design choices. These are choices that are carefully picked in order to showcase some specific aspects of a Warframe in order to push their aesthetic and theme even further. Take a look at Lavos, for example, the Alchemist Warframe. When you look at Lavos, you can tell that he has something to do with using elixir potions and all that. That is because of stuff like the tubes going around him or his snakes, his vials that are attached to his body with liquid in them, or his eccentric design. These, just like the characters before, are correct design choices with intended design, since these two go hand in hand. They are cool, they make sense, and they show only by just looking at the Warframe what it is about. Back to Lavos, His design obviously is good, since it pretty much lets you instantly understand what he is, as long as you pay a bit more attention to his details. His kit is all about applying status effects of all types, such as electricity, heat, toxic, cold, and more. I won't explain his kit because I don't want to confuse you, but basically it is a Warframe that relies on rotations in order to perform, using certain abilities in a certain order in order to output max damage. Overall, another great design in my opinion. The point of this video was to show that in order for a character to look different or more diverse when it comes to their physique, is that you need a valid reason to make them look like that. What Concord did was not that. It just made ugly characters for the sake of an agenda that led to its failure. You want to make buff female characters? Okay. You want to make fat characters? Okay. Just make sure there's something that contributes to that. Some aspect that makes it make sense as to why they look how they look. And for God's sake, make them look good. Just because a character is fat doesn't mean they can't look good. I mean, look at my Grle, for example. But yeah, that's all I had to say for this video. If someone wants a part 2, I could make another one that is longer. I could go into more depth about this. I just wanted to make a quick little video. Oh, and I know that there are more Warframes that have great designs that show what they are about as well. But this video would be too long. But here, I'll name drop them in case someone wants to look them up or anything like that. Some of these Warframes are Zephyr, Wukong, Nezha, Necros, Garuda, Frost, Ember, and there's more. If you agree or disagree with this video or have anything to add, please leave a comment below. But yeah, see you next time.